Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play the Mega Man World Series. This time we're here with Mega Man 3. And that's gonna be a long journey because we are here for 53 straight minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, as the pattern goes, in the last one we beat the first 4 Robot Masters of Mega Man 3, and now we're here for the latter 4. And this is actually the first Mega Man World game with the generic boss intro theme, huh. Either way, as you just saw there, Mega Man 3 brings in the Mega Man 4 charge shot because this is a combination of Mega Man 3 and 4. And since my usual first Mega Man 3 Robot Master was in Mega Man World 2, I had to start off with one of my least favorites to fight with Mega Buster, Snake Man. Why? Because his weapon just makes the order so much easier in my eyes. And his stage, well, first off, Mega Man 3, I think, is the first game that, well, Mega Man World 3 is the first game to get the soundtrack completely right, because a lot of them are just remixes of their NES themes. And this is such a good remix of Snake Man's theme, oh my god. Also, the charge theme is really broken. I think it does, I want to say 4 damage, but either way. Let me get this game's plot up, because obviously Mega Man 2 had a plot, Mega Man World 2 had a plot, so Mega Man World 3 will as well. Mega Man World 3. There it is. Let's see. Okay, Wily's using a converted oil platform in the middle of the ocean to draw energy away from the Earth's core to power a new machine. So we need to make our way to Wily once again. That's pretty vanilla, all things considered, actually. Though I do have to question, exactly what are we walking on? I know they're like giant snake tendrils, but where is this supposed to be? At least in the story of Mega Man 3. Oh, by the way, Eddie's here, so he'll still randomly give you, like, lives, E-tanks, and stuff. I mean, in the as I was saying, in the context of Mega Man 3, Snake Man's stage, in fact, all the stages were like alternate planets or moons or whatever that they were farming stuff on. But what is this supposed to be now? We look like we're in the middle of the Amazon. Where are we? Either way, weird little difference here. These guys were in Mega Man 3, but they work differently here. In Mega Man 3, they pole vaulted over you, but this time they actually jump over you, leaving their legs behind. They will walk after a few seconds, so they're more or less the exact same enemy, only they actually are a bit easier because they stop for a few seconds. There is one thing I have to say about Mega Man 3, though. Its jump physics are still a bit off from normal classic Mega Man. It was off in Mega Man Worlds 1 and 2 as well, but this one especially, they get so close with the formula to being a normal classic Mega Man game. Yeah, you'll see that especially later. But the control just feels a little bit off. Mega Man feels a bit too heavy for his jumps. And then stuff like that happens. Because if I was playing like Mega Man 3 on the NES, I would have made that fall no problem and that jump. But no, because this is Mega Man World 3, I have a bit of issue. But yeah, Snake Man stage, it's actually probably the easiest out of the stages you could choose, because the only really threatening part is this part where you're over a bunch of bottomless pits. And it's just overall more basic than the rest, really. The charge shot is really broken in this game, though. I can say that for a fact. Either way, time for Snake Man himself. His pattern is the exact same it was back in Mega Man 3. He'll start on one side of the room, and he'll run back and forth, jumping when necessary, obviously. Shooting his little search snakes in the process, and they'll go over the walls and ceiling and stuff. And he does a lot, and I mean a lot of touch damage, even still. So you really like to make sure you can get as many charge shots off as you can. I think it takes 6 or 7. I died to him because I almost always do. Nothing too complicated, but his damage output can be kind of surprising. Which is the exact same way it was back in Mega Man 3, really. I used to actually tackle Snake Man first in 3, but then I realized, wait, Hard Man's a Pyrrhic boss, it's so much easier. After beating him, we once again get Search Snake. Which, like in Mega Man 3, you fire it and it goes along the ground, and also on the ceilings it goes up to. Pretty useful. And we also get Rush Coil again, which, yet again, you jump on Rush, you get a spring. Also, no, actually, I'll mention that later. Either way, now it's time for good old GEMINI Man. Yeah. And GEMINI Man stage is actually fairly similar to his NES stage. Though there's these guys, which are more annoying in this version, actually. I think there's... what are they... you know what's weird about the Mega Man games is that they're, as you may have noticed in the previous 2 videos, their enemy names get really out there. But those ones I remember having a really stupid name, like something Pepe. Which, weird. Either way, thankfully, despite this stage's looks, it's actually not an ice gimmick stage. It's actually a completely normal attraction. This is actually more or less just a fairly vanilla stage until we get to the main gimmick later on. Though I will say for a fact right now, Mega Man World 3 is still harder than Mega Man 3. Why? Damage outputs and some stage designs are kind of dickish. And now we'll get the environment switch, much later than the NES version at that. Here's the main gimmick, the eggs. Like in Mega Man 3, you shoot them, a little tadpole comes out, though they look a lot uglier in this version. So now I have to platform around, though I'm really doing the stupid way about this, really. I'm trying to remember, you'll see me making some strange moves early on in this, because, well, first off, this was actually originally going to be 2 parts, but then I realized one was like 30, another was like 12, and I'm like, that's not well balanced, so I combined them into one giant part. But, the first part of this I recorded at like 4 in the morning, the day of PAX, so I was pretty tired at that point. But mind you, it also helps that I walked like 7 miles at PAX. Good lord, that took care of my exercise for the next 3 years. And here I am being smart, just saying, screw it, let's go the much easier way at that, actually. Though these eggs are really good for farming items if you need them. And that's actually some pretty impressive animation there in the background. Though it looks a bit choppy in one specific part, but hey, I'll give credit where credit is due on games. Like how I'll give Sonic 06 that its soundtrack is absolutely glorious. Though Shadow the Hedgehog deserves every bit of hate I give it. And yeah, I'm out of things to talk about for Gemini Man stage at the moment, because honestly, it's more or less the same. I don't even think there's any underwater sections like there was in the NES one. Well, mind you, that was the Doc Robot version of this stage, but still. I do recommend, by the way, that after you're done watching this, go look up the Mega Man World 3 soundtrack, because they are actually really faithful remixes of the original, and it sounds really good. There's some slight differences, because, well, first off, sound channel differences are a thing, as are, just plain re-instrumentations, but they are really, they're still as catchy as hell. Because if you recall, I more or less have stated multiple times that Mega Man 3 is one of my favorite soundtracks in the series, more so than 2 in some instances, actually. Although, here's a strange difference. You might remember this penguin from GEMINI Man stage and Mega Man 3. But in this game, you don't shoot the eyes to kill it, you shoot the weird switch on its head, which makes sense, mind you, because it's pumping out these penguins for a reason. But that's kind of a strange choice. The eyes are a much bigger and much more obvious target in my case. Also, I hate these dragonflies. No, I do have to wonder what kind of planet we're on. Well, on Mega Man 3 at least. What kind of planet we were on that made it look like this. I may have actually said that exact same thing back in Wily Wars. Because this is some Alien series crud going on here. I haven't watched the Alien movies in forever. Mind you, most of them I don't like too much. The only one I really kind of liked was the original. Aliens was alright at best in my eyes. Mind you, I'm not a big fan of the whole monster movie kind of thing with that. If I want a giant Hollywood sequel like that, I want something like Terminator 2. Either way, time for Gemini Man. He is once again rigged to search Snake, so get that out. Gemini Man, like Snake Man, works almost exactly like his NES counterpart. He starts off the fight by splitting into 2, which fire their own pellets after you shoot or so. No, actually, around the time you shoot. And it takes about 3 hits to get him out of this. Then he starts firing his Gemini laser, which bounces all over the room while he tries to run into you. However, he's still really easy with or without Search Snake. Although I think he is a bit easier in the NES game. I can tell. Yeah, actually. Yeah, he's easier in NES. After beating it, we get that laser, GEMINI laser, which fires forward and then bounces off walls diagonally. It's a bit better than it was in the NES game, I guess. Either way, I wanted to say something. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it, but there is a Flash animated series, I believe it's made with Flash, out there on YouTube, and was also on Newgrounds, by the name of Tome, Terrain of Magical Experience. Go look up that show, that animation's opening, or just watch it in general, because it's honestly really good. And then look up this game's weapon get theme. They are eerily similar, which is... I could actually see why that would be, because I know for a fact the creator of that is a fan of Mega Man, especially Battle Network, so yeah, I could see that being a thing. And now it's time for Sparkman, whose remix I absolutely love. Mind you, I love Sparkman's theme in general, but this is a really good version of it. And honestly, his stage is a bit harder off the bat because those little electric bar things right there, you can't phase them out of the screen like you could in the NES game. Which, I guess this is kind of good, because that means the stage can be played the way it's supposed to be, but it also means I can't have fun glitching games. And I like glitching. Unless it's Superman 64, in which case that is a glitch. And I do recommend, by the way, that if you ever see an E-Tank, grab it, because honestly, a lot of the bosses do a fair amount of damage, and since, honestly, this game is kind of hard, you want to keep your hand on as many as you can. I usually only have about 2, though. Because, as you might be able to tell if you keep an eye on the death counter, I'm editing out a lot of deaths this time around. I'm very often at 0, actually. Also, slow down. I think that might only be because I'm charging a shot. No, it's actually not. I can see that, though I can definitely see the charge sprite doing something with that. And hey, I haven't seen one of these in a while. Yeah, for some reason they don't do one of the little spike falls here until Mega Man World 3, and I don't know why. And they even bring in the bombs from Mega Man, like, I think it was 5 that introduced them onwards? Or was it 6? One of the two. Mind you, that's not a very dangerous spike fall. Now, these little trash chutes, they were really quick to draw off the trash in Mega Man 3, but in Mega Man World 3, I don't know what exactly makes them take so long. Because you will easily have more than enough time, though it's probably still an instant kill crush if you are underneath it, by the way. Well, this is a weird alignment. I don't know why they added so many spikes in the Sparkman stage when they changed the layout, because a lot of them are in places you really shouldn't be anyway, so why would you touch them? Like those 3 up there. Why do those 3 need to be there at the top of that screen? Unless they just need something for that electric thing to be on top of. Because there's no way you can reach those without rush coil. And I know I'm not missing any like optional items in this game, I think. Otherwise, I've been lied to my entire life. Either way, time for Sparkman. I accidentally went out of order a bit here because he is not weak to the GEMINI laser. He is weak to the other weapon. What's it called? I'm forgetting. The one from the other Robot Master. But I decided to go after him because he's actually a pretty easy boss to Mega Buster. His pattern is that he jumps all over the place, occasionally charging himself up and then firing a huge pellet at you, and then following up, usually with a little burst of smaller particles that go all over the place. He is actually a very easy boss and honestly recommendable for a first choice. I just went Snake Man first because I like to get Rush Coil very quickly. And there he goes. And for beating him, we get the Spark Shot, which is more or less a more powerful Mega Buster, although you can't charge it up, so I guess the Mega Buster is more powerful in this game. It's better in Mega Man 3 than the Mega Buster. It's just a spark that goes straight forward from the Mega Buster. Either way, now it's time for Shadow Man. He's the one that Sparkman's weak against. I accidentally went out of order because I was looking. I remember actually what happened there when I chose Sparkman stage. I was talking to my brother and he distracted me for about 2 seconds too long and I chose the wrong stage. Either way, Shade Man stage starts almost not Shadow Man. I always get those two. Those names always get mixed up in my head for some reason. Even though one's clearly a ninja, and one's clearly a vampire. Shadow Man stage starts off largely the same way it did back in Mega Man 3. However, now it gets different. Why? A lot more sliding, and from here on out, honestly, it's more the same. The odd thing is, this game feels closer to the original Mega Man 3 than the previous Mega Man games have, or the Mega Man World games have, but there's still something missing from a lot of the stages. It just doesn't feel as interesting as NES Mega Man 3. I don't know what it is exactly, though. Also, those grenades still suck. I hate those grenades. It's almost kind of odd, and also very interesting, comparing stage design mentalities for a lot of these games, because this kind of section was in Shadow Man stage, but only until the Doc Robot version of it. So, it's a bit weird there. Though, admittedly, being here makes me wish I had Magnet Missile from Mega Man World 2, because in that section of Mega Man 3 NES, Magnet Missile pretty much neutered that section because they would go immediately for those little parachute guys. Also, one point that this game has that the NES Mega Man 3 didn't, is that those little environment changers don't slow down the game nearly as much. Mind you, they don't really slow the game that much down too much in the NES version, but in Wily Wars, oh boy, those sections are slow. And here we are at Shadow Man. He is weak against GEMINI Laser in this game instead of Topspin, because Topspin was back in Mega Man World 2. So get that out. And his pattern, I've honestly never been quite certain of, even in the original Mega Man 3. I know he likes to jump and do some mini hops and jump a lot. But he tends to generally throw 2 or 3 Shadow Blades at you at various angles. Honestly, there's a reason I'm never too sure about his pattern. That's because whenever I'm playing Mega Man 3 NES, I'm top spinning him, which kills him in like 3 seconds. So, I don't know. Though I know a lot of people well, no, not a lot. Some people I know actually go Shadow Man first in both this and Mega Man 3 NES. So, he's pretty easy. After beating him, we get Shadow Blade, which is more or less Metal Blade. Only you can only fire in most of the 8 directions, usually in the arc around you. And it only goes about halfway across the screen before it comes back to you. It's still fairly useful, though. And now it's already time for Dr. Wily. I'm getting odd Ninja Gaiden flashbacks. Huh. And Mega Man really pops out on that screen there because he is far too light of a shade of gray. Oh god, no! Not these already! Though this is actually a very, very easy little stage because we're already at the boss right now. The boss of this stage is a Mega Susie. This is weak against spark shots, so get it out. And what this thing tries to do is go in various ways across the walls. Usually going vertically or horizontally, but it will occasionally do little weird hop things like this. Not very hard. In fact, this thing will show up again later on in the game as a mini-boss, so I question why it's just here randomly. And time for something a bit different. Instead of having us fight the next 4 Robot Masters in their own little stages from a little capsule select, we get a second stage select in general. And the first out of the Mega Man 4 bosses I'm heading after is Skullman, because honestly, I hate the other 3 stages so much. This is where this game gets a gigantic difficulty spike. Though I love the remixes of the Mega Man 4 themes, especially Skullman here. And honestly, his stage starts off pretty vanilla. It's only in the later half that it gets kind of interesting, where they start throwing stuff at you. The interesting thing about those little skull robots, like the one I just killed, which actually kind of looks like Sniper Joe now that I look at it, you can only kill them with a fully charged shot or a couple of partially charged shots. That's the word I was looking for. Those little ribs at the bottom, by the way, those are instant kills, so don't touch them. Overall, this stage is pretty vanilla, but it throws a lot of enemies at you, that's for certain. In fact, that's one of the reasons that Mega Man World 3 is kind of hard in general. They throw a lot of enemies at you in situations where you should really have just platforming. We'll see a couple of sections like that coming up. And plus, don't even get me started on what we're going to see in Dustman stage. Ugh. Ooh, free E-Tank. Thank you. Ow. I was actually originally planning on ignoring that E-Tank, but then that happened. This game is hard. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Rush actually disappears after a few seconds. He did that in the NES games, just that I never give him a chance to, because I always, well, I'm generally much better controlling Mega Man in the NES games. But like I said before, the control, especially in Mega Man 3 through 4, 5 gets it a bit better as well, is just barely off from being NES control, but it just feels he's a bit too heavy. It's kind of hard, you know what, it's kind of hard to describe control, honestly. Because it's something you can't see without playing it yourself, you know what I mean? Because the way the game looks when you're recording it and watching it, it looks like that the character's just moving. But remember, you have to move him yourself, and if there's a good amount of momentum or the character's too slippery, that only really affects the player, and because of it, it makes them look like they're screwing up a lot in games like Bubsy and such. When those games just are very poorly designed in general. Though Bubsy 2 wasn't too bad. I've played much worse. And that little barrier there, we actually can't destroy until we get Drill Man's weapon, so... yeah. There's actually a lot of orders you can take in this part of the game. A lot of people like to go Dust Man first, but honestly, I prefer Skull Man. Why? Well, because Skull Man's one of my favorite Robot Masters design-wise, and I just like fighting him. Though actually, I forget who posted. I think it was Rome Mithril on Tumblr. Yeah, because I have a Tumblr, by the way. That's a thing. Oh, by the way, I energy grind right now. Why? Because I wouldn't survive much of hits along that point. Someone on Tumblr made one of those little... I don't know how to describe them. The preference makers, where you kind of are given two choices. You click on the one you like more, and sometimes there's a I don't care and... I like both option. Kind of like how sometimes Dorkly does those Dork lists. You know, they haven't done one of those in forever. And, Skullman was like in my top 5. Either way, time for Skullman himself. He jumps around a lot. And he actually doesn't do too much. He brings up his skull barrier every now and then, which you can't hit him during. And then he generally tends to run towards you and then fire a shot or two. He has a very simplistic pattern, but he has a lot of touch damage, so watch out for that. And for beating him, we get that skull barrier, which is a shield-type weapon, but it's not the most useful one. It only comes up for a few seconds, and even then, if it touches something, it goes away. However, unlike the leaf shield, you can actually run with it, so it's better in that regard. Alright, next up is Dive Man, who's actually always been one of my favorite Robot Master designs, not so much fight-wise. And don't even get me started on having to do his voice back in Battle Network 6, because that killed my throat. Mind you, a lot of the Battle Network voices kind of hurt me after a while, especially Wily. Either way, Dive Man, as his name suggests, is our first underwater stage in the entire trilogy of the Mega Man World games I've played so far, I think. Because let me think, there were water sections in Mega Man World 2, but they were only like 3 seconds long. And Mega Man World 1 didn't really have anyone, so yeah. And weirdly enough, they actually bring in the whale sub-boss from the NES game. I don't understand why, though. Though thankfully, the charge shot neuters it. And also, there's a lot of spikes here. In fact, that's something that's kind of similar to it that Mega Man 4 had. Mega Man World 3 is kind of the Mega Man 4 in this series' regard, because there are spikes everywhere. And if you've ever played Mega Man 4, you know that there are spikes in just about every stage, and there are a lot of them in general. Which is not pleasant, because some people have game phobias, like aquaphobia, due to like things like Echo the Dolphin, crushophobia, due to things like X6's Metal Shark player stage. I have spikeophobia. If I ever see a spike in a video game, even if they're not instant kill, I flinch, because I want to stay away from them. And guess what series did that to me? If you guessed Mega Man, you're wrong, actually, it was Sonic. Because of the spike glitch in Sonic 1, but Mega Man happened immediately afterwards, so don't worry about that. Though I did technically play Mega Man first, the first Mega Man game I played was X, and there aren't terribly too many spikes in that game, so I didn't have many opportunities to die to them. Plus, in my case, in Mega Man X, I rarely got past Flame Mammoth in my general cycle of Mavericks. Because I sucked at video games. I think the farthest I ever got as a kid in general was Sigma 1, but that was luck. I can guarantee you that. One thing I can say, though... Oh, well, first off, hi, Eddie. Eddie, you're useless. One thing I can say about the Mega Man 4 section of this game is that it feels a bit weaker compared to the Mega Man 3 section. Especially in terms of soundtrack. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I haven't played Mega Man 4 too much. In fact, I think the last time I played it was the Let's Play, and that was a while back, so... Well, technically speaking, I played some of it on the Mega Man Legacy Collection, but that was just for those challenges. And those challenges are surprisingly satisfying to do. Why? Because you gotta get gold Mega Man faces, man. These mines are a bit odd. I always used to think back when I played Mega Man 4 that they were contact-based, but no, you actually do have to stand near them long enough for them to self-destruct, which I always found kind of annoying. Mind you, I don't want to be near things that can damage me, so that's probably why. Oh, that's perfect. Thanks, Rush. There we go. Actually, I'm trying to remember, when did this game come out? Let me see. Mega Man 3 Game Boy. Oh, that was a death. Of course I die when I'm looking away. Huh. This came out in 92, so the same year Mega Man 2 came out, actually. Though 93 in, Europe. So, this was... Huh. It's kind of hard to believe there was once a time where we got 3 Mega Man games in 1 year. Oh, how I miss those days! Though I am curious about what they're going to do with that new animated series airing in 2017. Because... And, well, I might get a bit of conflicts for this. I actually like a lot of the Mega Man TV shows we've already gotten, like the animes for Star Force and Battle Network, and even the 80s series. Either way, Dive Man, he's about to die, but he generally thrusts himself towards you, and when he generally lands, he actually fires a few dive missiles out. He's very simple in pattern, and a couple of skull bears to the face will kill him. Staying close to him is probably one of the best strategies you can take, as long as you have enough HP. And after beating him, we get Dive Missile, which, when you fire it, will home in on enemies. It's feasibly actually very useful, but I don't use it much because of the aforementioned I rarely use Robot Master weapons. And now it's time for Drill Man, whose stage I absolutely hated in Mega Man 4. Well, not absolutely. I just find it annoying. I exaggerate a lot, by the way. Well, not a lot, but often. Sometimes. I don't know how I speak sometimes. Isn't that right, Kyle, who's much nicer? Yes, Kyle. And starting off, his stage is very easy in this version. Heck, it even gives you a free extra life right at the start if you have Rush Coil, which you will at this point, so I don't know why. Though I suppose, technically speaking, it is possible to hack the game so you can start in any stage. I actually really wish one of the Mega Man Game Boy games did that. If they gave you all 8 Robot Masters at once. Kind of like how in Mega Man 7 you technically start with 4, but you had like a password or something you can enter to have all 8 available. That would be really cool. Because then it'd feel even closer to classic Mega Man. But, can't please them all. So, I'm at least glad these games exist the way they are, because they are fun, although a bit odd. And fairly unoriginal until Mega Man World 5. I hate those platforms! I've hated them since Mega Man 3, but I hate them there because those things over spikes are just mean. But thankfully, free extra life. Thank you, Eddie. You were useful for once. Oh, that's tempting. Got him. That's kind of an odd place to have 2 energy tanks, though, because that's fairly easy to get. So, that's kind of an odd risk versus reward thing. Also, I fight these rocks the entirely wrong way. You'll see me do it coming up, but anytime you see one of those rocks, you can actually shoot them with 1 Mega Buster pellet and they get entirely destroyed. So, I am completely going about the wrong way to avoid them. So actually, now that I say that, well, there's perfect runs of the Mega Man World games, right? I know one person in particular did perfect run of Mega Man World 5, but I should really check out what they're like for the Mega Man Worlds 1 through 4. Especially this 1 and 2 with some interesting stage designs they had going on with that. Ugh. I would have been so impressed with myself if I got through that without getting hit, but nope. Don't feel bad about using energy tanks in a lot of the main 4 Robot Master stages, especially the Mega Man 4 ones, because there are a lot of enemies that can do a pretty decent amount of damage to you in these ones. It doesn't help that for some reason, energy pellets feel like they drop very rarely in this game. I don't know why that is, though. Either way, time for Drill Man to get out the dive missile. Skull Man. Yeah. Drill Man feels a bit odd and patterned. He likes to charge at you, then immediately fire a drill buster at you. I forget what it's exactly called. After that, he'll dig into the ground and come out near you in a few seconds. He doesn't jump out like he did in Mega Man 4. He's really easy with the dive missile, but there's something about his pattern that feels like there's actually an attack or two missing from the NES game. I don't know why that is, though. He probably is, honestly. And from doing that, we get his drill ability, which is drill. I should forget the second word is drill bomb. Okay, that's simple. You fire a drill forward, and I believe if you press B, it'll self-destruct, or am I thinking of something else? I'm probably thinking of something else. Either way, now it's time for Dustman. Wait, wasn't the Dustman a faction in the first Infamous? I haven't played Infamous in a while. I still haven't even played the second one. I probably should. Because I heard a lot of good things about Infamous 2. And Second Son, from a gameplay perspective, at least. And Dustman stage is actually one of my least favorite. Why? Those things coming out of the pits. Anyone who's played Mega Man 9 knows why those things suck. They hit you in midair and you go careening into the pit. I hate trap design like that. That's actually one of the things I really did not like about Mega Man 9. And heck, it's one of the reasons I still haven't beaten the damn game. I know, right? Me not beating a Mega Man game? What? I've gotten to the Wily Castle. I just can't get past Wily Castle 1. Why? Those stupid dragons. Ah. Mind you, I'll give 9 this. It makes the weapons pretty much all useful. And yeah. I don't know how I feel about this stage in comparison to his NES stage. Because Dustman's NES stage was very easy. But this is a lot harder, but it feels more entertaining for once. Though, that happens occasionally. You see, that was the NES game, I would have made that because I would have been able to judge my gravity a bit more. But nope, because the NES has a bit more, Mega Man World has a bit more weight to it, I went careening into the pit. And now it's time for... Well, actually not yet. That's a few screens from now. I was getting ahead of myself there. Sorry about that. Though that guy right there is pretty much a trap as is, because he'll go right into you if you just hold up. Now it should be time for what I think it is. Yes, the Dustman crushing segment. And this sucks in Mega Man World 3. Why? I feel that the Dust Crushers go a bit faster. I don't know exactly why. It might have to do with the screen ratio being smaller than the NES, because Mega Man's sprite still feels a bit too big for its own good, but that's just because Game Boy screen. But there are a lot of occasions here where you'll just get stuck because one thing I didn't realize about this section at first, and I don't think this happens in the NES game, but it's been a while since I last played Mega Man 4, as I stated. The dust things don't come back when you scroll them off on and off the screen, and that can confuse new players unless you just barely make it like that. Oh god. So this feels a bit harder than the original version right here in particular. Thankfully, you actually have the charge shot, so it makes it a lot easier to go through a lot at once. I can't tell which version of the charge shot this is more based off of, though. It feels similar to Mega Man 4's, but it feels about as powerful as Mega Man 5's. Because Mega Man 5's charge shot was broken. Also, one thing I just realized I forgot to mention seeing that guy there. The spark shot we got from Sparkman, it also does something else. It paralyzes certain enemies for a short amount of time. I remember that because I saw that guy and I was like, wait, you can actually paralyze that guy. Also, those two jumps right there and one coming up suck. Why? That ceiling gimps your jump, as does this ceiling. And I think it's 2 screens from now, or is it 3? there's a really dickishly long jump. Yeah, it's the next screen after this. This screen sucks. Why? You can't jump across that on your own. And, feasibly, I suppose you can do the invincibility frame trick, which, by the way, I actually forgot to mention. Mega Man World 2 has a Mega Man 1 spike glitch. If you touch spikes while you're in your invincibility frame status, you'll still take damage. You need a rush coil to make this jump. You need to place it right. If you don't, you're going into those spikes. Although, like I stated, I think you can actually use the Mega Man 2 onwards invincibility frame glitch. Well, not glitch, trick that allows you to bypass damage. But don't quote me on that. I rarely try to do that in this game. Also, is it just me, or in some of the cases of the Mega Man World games, do some of the stages tend to drag on a bit too long for their own good? I feel like that's something the game has going against it. Because I feel like if I was playing Mega Man 4, this stage would be over by now. In fact, it probably would be. But thankfully, we're nearly there. In fact, I think this is the last room. Ow! Yeah, it's the last room. Oh, please drop energy. Damn it. Either way, it's time for Dustman, who is weak against the drill bomb, so get that out. Dustman is, surprise, surprise, similar to his Mega Man 4 incarnation. He'll jump a bit, and then do one of two things. Either suck you towards him, which he's invincible during, or fire his own weapon at you, which goes towards you a bit, yes, but when it's underneath you, or at you, it splits into the 4 diagonal directions. Which means that he actually has some pretty good attack coverage. Thankfully, he never did the suction ability, which makes him invincible, but he could actually be a pretty annoying boss. And this is actually one of the rare cases where the Mega Man World games outright changed weaknesses, because he was weak against Ring Man in Mega Man 4, if I recall. And for beating him, we get his ability, which I think is called Dust Crusher? Oh, sweet. And we also get Rush Jet, which sadly has been nerfed, but I'll get into that in a moment. Dust Crusher fires the dust ability forward, and when it touches something and does that, it splits into the 4 other directions. And Rush Jet has been nerfed, but I'll talk about that in a moment, because we have some stuff coming up, if I recall. Also, we're back here. Huh. Why is this here? This doesn't need to be here. There you are, Wily. Don't you raise those eyebrows at me. Come here, you little... what? Oh, hi there. Meet this game's Mega Man Killer. This is Punk. Punk is the second model of the Mega Man Killer robots. He prefers fighting fair and square. Good point, he follows policies. Bad point, has a punky appearance. Likes accessories and dislikes the Parent-Teacher Association. Or PTA, whichever one that means. And Punk, like previous Mega Man Killers, if you haven't noticed by this, because I think I forgot to mention this in Mega Man World 2, is only damaged by the Mega Buster. The way he works is that he'll spin up in the air a bit, and then he'll go in one of two directions. High or low. You jump over low, you slide under high. And then he throws a couple of those little punk screws at you. He's a very simple pattern, but he's honestly a pretty fun boss. In fact, maybe it's because they're the original boss fights, more or less, but the Mega Man Killers always feel like the most interesting boss fights. Except in Quint's case, because Quint is pretty pathetic. Either way, yeah, Punk's a pretty fun boss, and I love his appearance, especially in this and the Battle Network games. And for beating him, we get... I think it's called Punk Screw. I hope it is. Screw Crusher, okay. You have a lot of those, first off, and they fire upwards in an arc. They're deflected by a lot of things, but they're really damaging to other things, I think. Stop raising those eyebrows at me! Okay, you were quick about it this time. Let me guess. Another space station? Oh no, just the hidden city of Atlantis. Okay then. That is actually the oil rig he took over, I believe. And now we're in the final stage, which is long. Like we're looking at the rest of the part here, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, as I said earlier, Rush Jet has actually been nerfed. Unlike Mega Man World 2 or Mega Man 3, you cannot put it in any direction. It's closer to the Mega Man 4 onwards approach, where you can only move, you're always moving forward. However, it's even worse than the Mega Man 4 incarnation. Why? You can't even move it up and down. While you're always going that one direction, you are stuck at the altitude that you put it at, if I control it correctly at least, which horribly sucks. Especially in this section, which I think is the first place we're required to use it. Yeah, it is. Because you need to know to place it at the right altitude to not touch these spikes. I apologize if I'm wrong about the whole not being able to put it, control it up and down, but I recall it being that way when I recorded this like 2 days ago. Ow. So that's pretty sad that Rush Jet got nerfed, but oh well. It'll never be its Mega Man 3 World 2 approach again, sadly. And hey, these things are back. Also, I'm now very surprised. 40 minutes in and I'm only now getting a dry throat from talking so much. Well, thankfully I have tea and vitamin water on standby. Booyah! And now we get this section. I hate this section. Why? We are going up about 3 or 4 screens of ladder, and Mega Man World has a bit of a problem with ladders. If you're knocked off of them, you are going careening all the way down more than likely, so I hope you have a better time than I did when I was test playing this, actually, not recording. The recording, I actually did it pretty easily. But test playing, I was here for about 4 minutes, and that sucked. Oh yeah, that's actually a thing I do now. I didn't actually used to do it often, but for certain games I actually do test playthroughs now, just so I know them well enough. I do that more often for games I haven't played much before, though. Like these, because while I played these games a couple times before this, they are easily the Mega Man classic games I have played the least, even less than Mega Man 5 and Mega Man and Base. And I just now realized, since I'm doing all these after Mega Man Wily Wars, there's likely only going to be Mega Man and Base Classic to do after this that I can record easily, huh? Well, that's going to be great. As you can tell, I really don't like Mega Man and Base. Because it's just not good as Mega Man. As Base, it's tolerable, but as Mega Man, ugh. It's like trying to play Mega Man X6's X, which, mind you, is more doable, yes, but if you don't get that blade armor with that jumper ability, you are screwed at Gate Lab 1. Mind you, I still have to get through X5 first, which will be more tolerable, I'll give it that. The biggest thing with this stage, though, is that, as you can tell by the video length, it is long. If I recall, it's around 30 screens, so that's pretty ridiculous. Mind you, I'll at least give them this. It's kind of one of the best examples of using everything that it's taught you throughout. Because almost every single enemy in the game and hazard we've seen is in this stage, so I'll give it that. Plus, there's a couple of energy tanks sprinkled throughout, so you can at least heal yourself easily enough. And hey, Eddie. By the way, be careful there, because if Eddie sends that item down that pit, you are not getting it. So that kind of sucks. Also, here's a weird thing. Because this is a combination of Mega Man's 3 and 4, there are 2 types of Met tools in this game. The ones that dance around and the one that just shoot at you immediately. And you can tell there's a difference because first off, they have different attack patterns, and also one only takes 1 shot to kill, whereas another takes 3. Also, I was doing some research in between videos, and I realized that Inafune does not actually like Mega Man World 2 that much, even though it's actually, I think, the best out of the original 2. Because he was not involved in it, and Capcom outsourced it to another development team, which would explain a lot of the quirks Mega Man World 2 has. And you might think we're done. We're not. This is only the mini-boss coming up here, as soon as I get this hammer jaw out of the way. Thank you for dying. It's Mega Susie again, so get out Spark Shot. I don't know why they brought him in, but I'll do it. I'll take it. As before, he does the exact same thing. I assume it's a he. No, Susie. It does the exact same thing it does before. A lot of vertical and horizontal thrusts that get faster, I think, as he goes on. And a couple of those little arcs, though he didn't do any of the arcs for me this time. Also, what's going on in the background there? Huh. It's like shutters. Actually, I look at it, it reminds me of the Airman network in Mega Man Battle Network 2. Yai's little air conditioning unit thing. Huh. A bit odd, but okay. I cannot see that now, actually. Huh. Getting back on topic now. Actually, do I have anything more to talk about? Not really. We've gone through a lot of the stuff I have about this game. Though, fun fact about those buzzsaws, you can kill them with 3 dive missiles. I did not know that until doing some research for this. Yeah. There's actually a lot of weird little things like that in the series. Like, as I mentioned back in Mega Man the Wily Wars, all the Mega Man 3 Robot Masters are weak against their own weapon, which is an odd design choice, but I'll take it. Mind you, I suppose that's kind of a shout-out to Metal Man, because Metal Man was weak against the Metal Blades as well, especially so. He killed them in 1 to 2 hits. And I believe there's actually an in-universe explanation for that, since Metal Man was like the first Robot Master that Wily himself built, and because of that, he's technically the prototype, making him not only the most powerful, but also the most fragile. Either way, it's finally time for the final boss. Meet Wily Machine 3, I think? Yeah, Wily Machine Mega Man 3. This guy is actually very easy. He goes up in the air, slams down, then you shoot a charge shot in his eyeballs. And fun little fact, even though I don't show it off, if you stand on the very left of the screen, this thing can never touch you. I didn't show it off because I actually want a bit of a challenge, but honestly, it's pretty easy. Though I do believe how Phase 2 goes depends on where you defeat Phase 1. 7 charge shots to the eyes take it out. It's very easy, though. And now, once I get close enough to it after it blows up enough... I said Phase 2 already, so you already know that that's a bit of a lie, that victory music there. Get close enough to it, and Phase 2 starts, which is also incredibly easy. He just stands there, throwing some balls at you. And he's weak to the Screw Crusher. Those balls are invincible and will completely absorb any Screw Crushers you send at him, but honestly, it's a really easy fight. It does a lot of damage, though, so pack some energy tanks. Also, really, this song for the final boss, it's kind of anticlimactic. Mind you, this is a very silly-looking final boss, so yeah. And that's really about it for this boss. There's nothing really interesting about it. You can technically damage it with something else, I believe, but I'm not exactly sure about that. I think Screw Crusher and possibly the Mega Buster are the only things that can damage it. Which, mind you, bravo to Wily for figuring out what took until Eggman until Sonic 4 Episode 2 to think about. Make everything invincible to all but one thing. And even then, in the case of Eggman, that one thing was Supersonic. Or not Supersonic, Metal Sonic. And that's game, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for bowing with Wily. I actually kind of missed that in Mega Man World 2. Yeah, he doesn't bow in Mega Man World 2. It's one of the few games he doesn't do that. What the... What? And why do the bases always explode? I can understand maybe if Wily hit like a self-destruct button, but why? Oh boy. That's kind of funny. And how does a mushroom cloud make a tear? Was there a secondary explosion? Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, time for this game's enemy roll call, because there's yet again no real credits, and I absolutely love this song, though. Yeah, Bomber Pepe, there we go. I was wondering what that was earlier. Anyway, as for Mega Man World 3, I think out of the 5 games, this is either the best or the second best, next to Mega Man World 5. Because Mega Man World 1 and 2, while they're good, they don't quite feel like Mega Man. And Mega Man World 4 gets close, but it's not quite there yet. This and Mega Man World 5 feel the most like actual Mega Man games on the NES, and I think they're great for that. The difficulty curve for this one is a bit up there, especially when it gets into Mega Man 4 Robot Masters. And there are some questionable stage design choices, like that jump in Dustman stage. But overall, I think it's actually a very solid Mega Man game. Plus, the soundtrack is just kick-ass. If you want to play it, it is on the Game Boy and the 3DS Virtual Console. So you can still get it today for fairly cheap, as with Mega Man World 1 and 2. I think it's like $5 to $10. And I think it's worth your time if you're a Mega Man fan, or if you want to get into the series. Though, if you want to get into the series, I'd recommend Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 6, a lot of other games, actually. But this is on that list, I'd say. Also, I feel like they were trying to emulate a bit of the Mega Man 2 ending here for some reason, but I don't know why. It's probably because the very fairly soothing yet somber tune with Mega Man walking that does that to me. Though, saying that reminds me of Bit Brigade, and my god, the Bit Brigade ending of Mega Man 2 was awesome. It was almost jazzy with the way they did that ending tune. But that said, though, next up is Mega Man World 4, which I haven't recorded yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be the first one of these that's not one part. Don't quote me on that, though. We'll see what happens tomorrow or Monday, whenever these get uploaded. Just keep in mind it is currently April 27th, so yeah, we'll give a good date on this video. So thankfully, I'm almost done with classes, which means I can do a lot more recording. Yay! Which also means I don't socialize much. Yay! If there's anything I can really say about the Mega Man World games, is that their enemy rolls take forever. And if this was a Mega Man Classic normal game, the credits would probably be over by now. But not in this case. I'm now out of what the hell? Pickleman data. What kind of name is that? Okay, I'm kind of shocked by that. Wow, that's a name. Yeah, I'm really out of things to talk about if you can't tell. But, we're not, after we finish Mega Man World 4 and 5, though, we're not quite done with this little Mega Man marathon. After these next two games, which will likely only be about 4 parts total, by the way, if I record them right. We're not quite done with this little Mega Man marathon. I know, that's like 2 marathons in a row, but don't worry, it's almost done. After I finish the Mega Man mini marathon, Mega Man World mini marathon, rather, as it is, we're finally going back to the X series with Mega Man X5. And the only reason I'm saying that now is because I really have nothing to talk about over the next minutes. So look forward to that. That's going to be interesting because I haven't played X5 in about 4 years. So yeah, Giant Susie, not Mega Susie. Where'd Mega Susie come from? Mind you, Mega Susie would have been a much more interesting name because Mega Man. Though, I guess if I have anything to complain about this game looking back at it, because I already know I did like a mini review earlier, but there's one thing I still have to say about the Mega Man World games to this point, and that's that the boss rooms still feel a bit too cramped for what they're trying to do. That's less so than it was in Mega Man World 1 and 2, I'll give it that. But it still feels like there's just not enough room, except in Punk's case. Punk had plenty of room in his boss fight. Mind you, I just really like his boss fight in general. But yeah, that's a thing. And of course, Rush and Annie get their own little love spot there. And with that, we're finally done with the credits. Wow, this actually is the Mega Man 2 ending, isn't it? I actually really like that angle there. I can see that. I think that, if I recall quickly, reimagining this by some fan art was actually my desktop background for a good while, I think. I might be thinking of something else from Mega Man 2, I forget. Either way, with that, I'm finally going to need to end this long credit sequence off here. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys in Mega Man World 4. See you guys then!